Hello, Mr. Prime Minister. It's ABC Australia. I'm wondering if you can explain the hundreds of millions of dollars in your account.
In Najib Razak's Malaysia, where rivals were jailed and critics vanished, this was a dangerous pursuit.
What are you trying to do?
No, it's just a press conference.
No. Stay in my way. Madam Saidi. What are you trying to do?
Just ABC press.
How times have changed. It's finally safe to question the former Prime Minister about the biggest corruption scandal in the nation's history, 1MDB.
He borrowed about 4 separate tranches of money that added up to roughly $6 billion, and then diverted that money away from the ostensible purposes for which the bonds had been issued, into frolic and fun, actually. Simple.
1MDB was a government fund that was supposed to make savvy investments for the Malaysian people. Instead, numerous investigations alleged that all 1MDB did was make the Prime Minister and his friends very, very rich. Billions of dollars were spent on party boats, mansions, paintings by Van Gogh, Monet and Picasso, gambling weekends in Vegas, and perhaps most bizarrely of all, a movie about excess and greed.
My name is Jordan Belfort. The year I turned 26, I made $49 million, which...
Compared to what was being done with the 1MDB cash, The Wolf of Wall Street was a depiction of astute money management.
We're here to solve systematic problems.
The man accused of being the chief money launderer was a family friend of the Prime Minister, Malaysian billionaire Joe Low. He styled himself as a selfless young philanthropist.
That's something that I believe I want to be a part of in achieving in terms of making cancer history. I believe it's possible.
The reality was a little different. A US Department of Justice investigation alleges that Joe Low washed the money stolen by the Prime Minister and skimmed off vast amounts for himself and his celebrity mates.
Even Las Vegas was left astonished at the scale of the lavishness of these parties. You know, they'd have their birthday parties, they'd drag in Britney to sing Happy Birthday like Marilyn Monroe.
There's even an Australian angle. Joe Low spent around $5.5 million of 1MDB money on diamond jewellery given to model Miranda Kerr. All the necklaces and earrings were engraved with her initials.
Amazing. Joe Low was squiring this beautiful woman. And, it was always a bit of a figure of amusement, really, that this, rather unprepossessing guy seemed to get the most glorious girlfriends.
During a meticulously planned 2014 getaway with Kerr aboard his super yacht, Joe Low gave the gal from Gunnedah a $2.5 million necklace and earring set. Oh, and the $330 million yacht Equanimity, that was also bought with 1MDB money.
The most extraordinary thing about this scandal isn't the jewellery or the paintings or the party boat. It's that a large chunk of the proceeds of this corruption, almost $1 billion, was deposited directly into the personal bank account of the Prime Minister. The man who ran the country from here was so sure he was untouchable, he couldn't be bothered trying to hide what he was doing. What arrogance.
The handful of people who tried to blow the whistle on the scandal paid a big price. Khairuddin Hassan was a member of Najib's own political party when he first spoke out about the 1MDB scandal.
I have to do it for my country. I have to do it to 32 million Malaysians, which were being cheated by the most corrupted Prime Minister that we ever had.
Authorities in Malaysia weren't interested in investigating the scandal, so Khairuddin went to overseas law enforcement bodies.
I flew to Switzerland, I flew to United Kingdom, but on my way to FBI in New York, I was arrested and charged under Anti-Terrorism Act, that is SOSMA Act. And I was jailed for about 2 months.
He was put in the same prison as jailed opposition figure Anwar Ibrahim, the man who has now been freed and pardoned and is expected to become Malaysia's next Prime Minister. For Khairuddin, it was like being jailed with Nelson Mandela.
I enjoy my life in prison. I always thank Najib Razak for putting me there for 2 months, you know.
Journalist Claire Rucastle-Brown broke many of the initial stories about 1MDB.
They were like angry, wounded tigers, and you know they turned on me. Yes, they thought that the best solution to sorting me out was, you know, to squash me, destroy me, obliterate me.
She was forced to leave Malaysia, but Najib's supporters and their lawyers went after her in the UK.
I have bills of hundreds of thousands of pounds to my own lawyers that need to be dealt with at the moment. Yeah.
Shortly after Najib lost power in Malaysia's elections, Claire Rucastle-Brown returned to a transformed nation.
It's really been fantastic and incredibly hopeful. I mean, I think, you know, Malaysia, if they've shown they can unite, the leaders showed that they could put aside smaller differences in order to fight this greater evil.
There is a reckoning coming. Charges against Najib are inevitable. Cash totalling $30 million has already been recovered from his properties. Police have confiscated jewellery and handbags worth millions of dollars. And he's being questioned regularly by the nation's Anti-Corruption Commission. The accused money launderer, global party boy Jolo, is in hiding.
Jolo is the most wanted man in Malaysia today. We are waiting for him to account for what he did. If there's one man who knows how this whole thing works, it's Jolo.
Now that the shoe is on the other foot, those targeted by Najib display a restraint that was never shown to them.
You know, we are not like them. We never interfere into the rules of law. You know, the separation of power now is very clear between the judiciary and the executive.
And it's been brilliant. Not one person has been hurt in this massive, massive revolution that's taken place. There's been no bloodshed, but they are after the criminals. And of course, Najib is the most prominent.